You smell great.
I want to discuss with you 5 mistakes to avoid when it comes to growing and planting Campsis, the trumpet vine. Before that though, I will quickly go into the cold hardness of these plants, because you've got 2 species and 1 main hybrid, and the cold tolerance of these plants will vary. That is quite important. And at the end of the mistakes to avoid, I'm also going to pot one up so you can see exactly how to do it if you were me. Okay, so you have 2 species. The first species is Campsis Grandiflora, and that is native to South Asia. The second one is Campsis Radicans, which is native to the southeastern part of the North American continent. Now, both of these are fairly hardy. I would probably consider these to be half hardy. The Grandiflora will go down somewhere between 0 and -5 degrees Celsius. The Radicans, that's a little bit more cold hardy. But if cold hardiness is very important to you, especially if you live further up north, then you're going to want a hybrid of these 2 species. Hallelujah! And that would be Campsis tagliabuana Madam Galen. It's a hybrid of those 2 species, and as such it has hybrid vigor, and in this particular plant that is partly expressed in increased cold hardness. So you're looking at a plant that looks extremely tropical but will tolerate temperatures down to between -10 and -15 degrees Celsius. So if cold tolerance is a worry to you, Madam Galen is your best option. I hope that's not going to cause a problem. I've been wanting to do a video on how to grow Campsis for a couple of years now, and I haven't been able to do it because of one problem. The reason why I want one is because I want to grow one up here. I want a red one to give it an exotic look, to enhance the feel of our exotic garden. But there's been a problem. Problem is I've not been able to find one for the last 2 years. What the flip is going on? When I used to run garden centres in and around London, we always had Campsis. We normally had about 3 to choose from every single time. So I've tried looking again this year, went to my massive local garden centre, I won't tell you the name, and yet again, still no Campsis, even though it's the beginning of the season and they should be full of them, literally full of them. However, I've been helped out because I've got this. Luckily, I've been helped out by the wonderful people at Thompson and Morgan. So we're going to open this up and we'll plant this on, as I said, at the end of this. But if you want to buy one of these, click on to this link here. And if that is no good to you, I've got one of those weird boxy square things with lots of dotty squares in it. What are they called again? QR codes. Put your camera on that, that will take you straight to it. So if you too are looking to plant a Campsis, they are excellent plants, and you can't find them either like me. Well, at least you know that Thompson and Morgan are selling them at the moment. Honestly, what is the world going to? No one grows anything in this country anymore. Disaster. Finally, we are at the first mistake number 1. Now, whatever Campsis you are going to buy, the chances are it is going to grow absolutely massive. These plants can get up to 10 meters tall. They are big, they are heavy, they produce aerial roots. So when you are deciding where to plant it, do not plant it somewhere where it's going to be growing on something valuable, such as your house. It will be in your gutters, it will be in your roof space, it will be pulling apart your soffits. It is very, very heavy. Just bear in mind that although this plant is absolutely gorgeous, it really is, you've got to take care when it comes to choosing where you're going to plant it, which is why I'm growing mine in a tray. Don't plant it on a weak fence. Like I say, don't plant it on your house. Be sensitive to what it can do. It is big, it is heavy, it can be considered aggressive. So choose your frame wisely or your support wisely. Don't let it break stuff, because you will get in trouble. Mistake number 2 moves effortlessly and seamlessly from mistake number 1, and that is to not forget to make your winter cuts. You have got to get control of these plants, otherwise they will grow wild, they will take over. Cut these plants back late winter or early spring. Do not allow these plants to get out of control, because they'll be an absolute monster, cause you big problems. Do it every year. Do it at the right time. You need to do it late spring, early spring, late summer, simply because these plants will produce their blooms on the new wood. So you cut them then, you get your new growth, you get your blooms on the end of that new growth. Don't forget to do it. You know what happened to those Leylandia edges? You miss it once and then suddenly you've got an absolute monster. It's too big to control. Cut it every year at the right time. Mistake number 3 is to do with where you are going to plant this plant, and it's to do with sunshine. You cannot put this plant in a shady position. You might want to, because you think, oh, that's a lovely plant, it's going to brighten up that really dark, crappy corner I've got in the garden. No, when it comes to planting this plant, if you don't give it enough light, you will still get foliar growth, but it will not have enough energy to power its blooms. When it comes to sunshine, you're going to need to provide at least 6 hours of direct sunshine, our kid, every single day. Mistake number 4 is, once again, a mistake to avoid when it comes to controlling the size of these plants. Now, Campsis have a running root system. That means the root system will move along the ground and start pushing up new stems, which are called suckers. Don't let it do that. That would be a little bit crazy. Make sure that as you see these suckers, you remove them immediately. Rather than cut them with a pair of secateurs, try and rip them out of the ground. That way you're much less likely to get growth back. If they're moving into your lawn, hopefully when you go over your grass with your lawnmower, that will take care of that, no problem at all. But again, it is a bit of a beast. You've got to manage its size, and dealing with its suckers is a great way to prevent that plant from just moving across your garden, completely taking the whole thing over. I've seen it before. Don't do it. Mistake number 5. This is to do with fertilizing your plant. Now, when you've purchased your plant, it's only going to be small, 1 meter tall, possibly 1.5 meters. And once you plant it at home, you're going to want to get it growing big. You want to see these flowers come out, and they really are amazing looking flowers. But there's a problem when you start to use your typical standard fertilizer, such as the absolutely wonderful Miracle-Gro. Miracle-Gro is a fantastic product. It is high in nitrogen. Unfortunately, when you put down a high in nitrogen food on a Campsis, it tends to produce more foliage than it does blooms. And that's not what we want. We want to produce as many blooms as we can. So it's going to be a no to using Miracle-Gro on Campsis. This is what you want to use instead. You've got 2 choices. The first is to feed it naturally. So when you come to planting your plant, dig out a bigger hole, backfill it with a small amount of blended farm manure. So it's very nutritious, very rich. Make sure it's dug in well. You don't want to be planting your root system directly into a load of cow poop. And then every year in the spring, put down a mulch of some more blended farm manures. Make sure that when you put it down that you haven't got farm manure touching the base of the stem, because that can thin the bark, creating an infection point where it could pick up a fungal infection. You really don't want that. The second one is, instead of using a high nitrogen fertilizer, use a low nitrogen fertilizer. So you're looking at products such as Tomerite, which is high in potash, or something like Maxicrop, which is seaweed based, low nitrogen, but masses and masses of other micronutrients. And now we are armed with all the knowledge required to plant up one of these plants. We're going to unbox that plant I got from Thompson Morgan, and in the case of this one, I'm going to put it in a pot. I'm going to have to get my wife Lorna to help me with the camera. Hopefully she doesn't make me look stupid. So I will have two of these Campsis turning up. We've got the first one now. One of them, the red one, is going to be planted to grow up this tree where it gets full sun all the time. The second is going to go on this big sunny south facing fence, and I'm going to plant it in this bucket so I don't have the problem with the running root system, and if I need to move it I can just whip it out, put it somewhere else. So here we are, we have Lorna on the camera.
Hello.
And we have the box, so we can have a look and see what exactly Thompson and Morgan have sent us.
It looks exciting anyway.
It's a big box.
Big box. Is it going to open it up and it's going to be packing?
I don't know.
So it's tiny at the bottom. Ooh.
These are never as big as you expect them to be.
I shall remain silent. Oh, what the hell's that?
Campsis.
Oh,
Trumpet Vine.
nice.
I'm glad you're paying attention, Lorna.
Yes. Very nice. Let's
Right,
have a look.
first thing you need to do is to check, make sure there are no pests and diseases on it, because you don't want to be planting a diseased plant in your garden.
Just looks like a little stick at the moment. That's so great, isn't it? So did you say what? Did you say red Campsis?
Well, there's a red one coming. I believe this is...
Oh, that's pretty.
an orangey one.
Oh, I do like that.
And because these are really vigorous anyway, I know for a fact as soon as this gets into its pot and starts growing, it's really going to take away. Could be really pleased with this. Do you look at that? See down here, there's some wax.
Yeah.
Well, this might be a grafted plant.
Oh.
I mean, really, these you probably take really easily as cuttings, but there you go. So first of all, you check for pest and disease. There's nothing really here. Don't forget to check the bottom of the pot in case there is a slug or something horrible in there. If there's not, and make sure there's nothing.
Not baby muncher. Right. You can do this.
Oh,
I spoke too soon, didn't I?
the pot doesn't want to.
Man versus
give it
pot. Hey, oh look at that.
And make sure you've got a healthy root system.
Yeah.
There's nothing, no pest and disease in that. It looks absolutely fine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plant it in our designated pot, which is over here.
Come on then.
Okay, so this is the pot we're going to use. It's quite big, but it does need to be in order to accommodate the overall size. We're going to put it onto this fence. We've got a lot of space on this fence, and it's a compact variety anyway, which is what we purchased specifically because we don't want these crazy massive varieties. So it will be able to accommodate the size absolutely fine. But as we mentioned already, we do need to add a decent amount of well-rotted manure into the soil, because we don't want to be adding high nitrogen fertilizers because of that issue with the plant allocating more of its resources to producing foliage rather than the flowers. So I'm going to dig some of this out. I'm going to replace it with a certain amount of farmyard manure. Dig that in nicely because you don't want the raw manure touching the root ball. We should be good to go.
Man with spade doing work. Look at that. Look at that.
Something interesting for you, because while we were digging out this bit of the compost, we found these. Can you see those okay?
Yeah.
Now these are root sections of glory lily, which we didn't find when we were lifting all the roots last year. So these have been out all year in the wet, in the cold. We had one night where temperatures went down to -8 degrees Celsius. And look, these are fine, hale, budding. What the flip? Who knew that these plants could tolerate temperatures that low in horrible wet conditions? That is surprising, because these are tropical, subtropical plants. They shouldn't be able to take the cold. They shouldn't be able to take the wet with the cold. But there you go. So now I'm going to put in and mix up some of the farmyard manure. You ready?
Go. Good cutting skills there, honey.
Thank you. That made in it. And now I'm just going to dig that in so it's all mixed up really well.
You smell great.
It is disgusting.
It does smell a bit poopy.
And the thing is, usually this well-rotted farm manure doesn't smell, but some of the suppliers, they spray the bags with something that does smell, so you get the association that it's a manure. Stop doing that. Sorry, my van stinks. It literally stinks because the bag was in the van. Naughty Levingtons.
I don't think that's the bag.
So we have our label with the name of the plant in it. So if you're not very good with remembering names and you want to know when is your pruning time and anything else, make sure you keep your label. And if you're like Lorna and removes these, throws them away every time she sees them because she doesn't like them, you can always sink it at the front so you don't see it, but at least you know it's there. So Campsis, before we plant, I'll just point out, we never pull apart or disturb the root ball, because the fine root hairs that take up the nutrition and the water are only a single cell, and they snap very easily. So if you're pulling it apart, you'll snap in all of these fibrous roots, and the plant will then go into shock because it hasn't got these roots in order to take up nutrition and moisture, and you have to wait. It will go sit there, be dormant until it makes all these new roots again, and then it'll start growing. If you just left it, it will grow immediately. And I don't care what anybody else says, I have seen the research on root trimming. It's a load of old rubbish, because they never take into consideration the amount of root that was removed in the first place. And that is a serious problem with the research with root trimming. Just don't do it. Nobody ever did it in the past. I've heard of people, they get a spade and just chop it in half and put it in the ground. What are you playing at? So never disturb the root ball. And all we need to do is plant this. I'm going to put it in the middle. Just make sure that the surface level of your pot here is the same as the surface level that you put it into. And all I need to do now is water that in. And there you go. That is the Campsis planted. Now, because it's in a pot, it's going to be down to you to make sure that gets watered over the summer, especially if there's a period of drought. It may well rain periodically, but it will never be enough. And especially once this becomes established and there's a massive load of leaf on it, that'll be sucking up litres and litres of water out of that pot. So you've got to be on your watering as this plant matures. And there you go. That is how you plant and grow, and the mistakes to avoid when it comes to growing Campsis. If you've got any questions or any other great advice regarding this plant, put that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. And it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from